It is the actual hair freedom that I've been looking for while still being able to wear my hair out without doing something else to it to maintain it. Hi my loves, I'm Maria. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my Sisterlocks. So if this is interesting to you, don't forget to follow. Let's get into it. So what are Sisterlocks? It's a type of lock that has been trademarked Sisterlocks, and it is an interlocked hairstyle using very tiny parts. There are many types of locks, and the ones that you see the most are probably traditional locks. Traditional locks are the ones that are the big, thicker locks that we all see a lot of people who have locks look like. I would say Chloe and Halle Bailey, they have traditional locks. And those are the ones that are the most popular, that people know the most. Now, there's also freeform locks. There's Microlocs, Sisterlocks, brother locks. Okay, I'm sure there's even more locks that I'm not sure about, that I don't know everything about. There's so many locks. You can look up all kinds of locks. What I will be talking about today is Sisterlocks. I might segue into Microlocs, but there are related. Sisterlocks, again, is the trademarked version of this type of style, whereas Microlocs is the non-trademark version of this. But Microlocs do not necessarily start the same way that all Sisterlocks start. All Sisterlocks has to be started in the interlocking way. Some people have a 3-lock rotation, some people have a 4-lock rotation. I think some might even have 2, but most people have a 3 or 4 rotation point with their interlocking system for your Sisterlocks. Now, for Microlocs, this can be started with like a twist. It can be started with braids, or it can also be started interlocked like Sisterlocks are. So that's the difference between Microlocs and Sisterlocks. They can be started in multiple ways for Microlocs, and also it's not trademarked. Therefore, they can start in multiple ways, whereas Sisterlocks, it's only one way. Now, there are people who will be able to do Microlocs and Sisterlocks, but they need to essentially know how to interlock the hair and not just twist like any other traditional lock. That's the big difference. And yes, you can start with Microlocs. Again, you can always find someone who does Microlocs or Sisterlocks or both, because they can do both. But I will be honest, how Sisterlocks look in the beginning is a little bit different to like a twist or braids when it first starts. Again, end result is all gonna be locked, so it won't matter, right? So I got my Sisterlocks installed 22 months ago. I was always a protective styling queen, I would say. You might see my head and think, oh, she has a big head. No, actually, a lot of times people will be like, oh, you actually have a small head. At least hairdressers will say, oh, you actually have a small head. You just have a lot of hair. You know, my hair was very strong and pretty full. It was a real work trying to have it in a loose, open, free style. Of course, you know, I could have always gone for like the fro look or like letting shrinkage have its way with it. I personally never got to that level of confidence myself. So maybe if I got to that level of confidence, it wouldn't be that big of a deal for me, but it kind of was for me. So I never really just let my hair loose. It was always in a protective styling, more than likely in braids, or you would have seen my hair cornrowed down with a wig right on top of it. And I wore tons of wig for a while, but even though I was a loose natural for 10 years, I did go back to the creamy crack twice. I did a texturizer 2 times because my hair grown up to a long enough point and I wanted to get it longer and a little bit of waviness, and I put chemicals in it. My hair broke out both times, and that was really the push to be natural in the first place. My hair was so broken and damaged from all the chemicals all the time, and that's not to mention the scalp burns that I would get sometimes, so I was over it. And I think also there was a resurgence of like Black power and loving your hair. The natural movement on YouTube was out of this world about 10-12 years ago. Everybody was rediscovering their natural hair, and I definitely fell into it at that point. But I do think that it really helped me to kind of shed the weight of, I guess, white society and white America. But definitely going to the next step to being Sisterlocked and locked in general was like another journey that I think I've actually embarked on since I've been locked, to be honest with you. If you haven't seen my hair story and how I got into Sisterlocks in the first place, go watch that video, because my family friend slash aunt, because if you're in a Black household, a family friend is not your aunt. When she got those Sisterlocks was around, or at least when I started to notice her Sisterlocks, was around the time that I myself was going natural. I have been natural at least, well, I was a loose natural for 10 years, since I was 17 years old till I was 27 years old, because now I'm 30, so yeah. But you know, there was a little bit of an overlap with my aunt, whose sister-lock was thriving, like thriving. I'm telling you, like, yes, you know, she went through her phases, but her hair is literally to her butt right now. And you know, thick, long, dyed, beautiful, like always styled hair. And that was pretty much my first like real life person that I saw every time at church, because that's how we became family friends in the first place. Every time at church, where we see every Wednesday or Sunday or Friday and Sunday, whatever, with this lady with Sisterlocks who was amazing, nice, because obviously in a Nigerian household, there is a stigma, like the hoodlums have locks. And I think that is a stereotype that is very present in American culture too. So seeing someone who was coming to our church who had Sisterlocks, and she's a very educated, smart woman, and you know, her hair was versatile and it still looked like hair from afar off, like just loose hair from afar off. I think it kind of reshifted how I saw locks in my mind. And that was very, very appealing to me. Another thing that kind of like edged me on my journey was I had a coworker about 5 years ago, and she just got her Sisterlocks installed at that point. I think she was like 6 months or a year into her Sisterlock journey. So it was very interesting seeing it like in the baby, I think they call it like the chicken feet or chicken what is it, wings, or anyway, I still thought it was really good looking like on her frame, because I just think the fact of the matter is it's like a styled look, right? So when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I could tell like she just got it installed recently, and you could always tell when someone just got it installed, but it still looked really good on her. So I was like, you know what? I think this is like a sign from the heavens that this is something that I'm gonna do, because I've really been wanting to do it for the past 5 years at that point, right? But overall, the thing was like, if you know Sisterlocks and you know that obviously Sisterlocks are trademarked, right? It is also expensive to install them. So when I knew, okay, fine, I saw my coworker 5 years ago who had Sisterlocks, I was like, I'm gonna get the Sisterlocks style done, but I know it's a lot of money, so I'm gonna have to save up a little bit for it. When I got engaged, I was like, I definitely know that I want to have my Sisterlocks at my wedding. I want to have the versatility of being able to wear my hair out, because I didn't want to wear either my loose natural hair out and then do like a super tight ridiculous bun all day, because that's probably the look I would have gone for, or put a wig in or like an extension into my hair. I just want to be me on my wedding day. Like, I don't want to wear something else. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'll probably have extensions in my hair, but it's still my hair. It's just the extensions is to give it more volume so I could get the look I'm going for. But again, it wasn't like hiding who I am behind something else. At least that's how it felt for me, and I didn't want that. So that was like my big thing. Like, I wanted my hair done at least 1.5 to 2 years into getting married. And so we got engaged actually in May of 2020. We knew we weren't gonna get married at that time because it was May of 2020, come on. And so we're like, obviously when everything loosens up a little bit more, it gives us time to save, and also gives us time to prepare for this wedding, because weddings are expensive. I'm planning it right now, and by the time you actually see this, more than likely, already, God willing, I am already married at the time. You know, my wedding date is actually early December 2023, but my Sisterlock install date was back in February of 2020. October 2021, right? This is the timeline. Let's go back. I reached out to a lot of locticians in the area. Most of them were about 45 minutes to even 2-3 hours away for a loctician for my hair. Now, I knew that was kind of what I was looking for. Getting Sisterlock locticians are far and in between. I hate driving, but you'll see that a lot of my vlogs that I complain about driving a lot. I was always meant to be rich is what I say, because it's either I was always meant to have a private driver or be close to great public transit. It's one of the two, and typically both are for the rich. So I don't know how else to say that, but it is what it is. I was just like, I hate driving. I eventually found a loctician. So in January 2022, I did a blowout of my hair. Again, I explained this all in my video, but I did a blowout of my hair, trimmed some ends because I knew that that was gonna affect the price I was gonna pay. Trimmed some dead ends anyway, and I went to get the sizing consultation session done. In the consultation session, it's about an hour. You pay for it, and they do different sizes to test out what size you might eventually want. I wanted the tiniest and the second tiniest sizes, and that's what she said that I honestly didn't need it, that my hair would be fine with the bigger ones. And in retrospect, she was right, because I do actually like them to be a little bit thick. I thought I wanted them super tiny. That's not the case, but we'll get to that. In the end of February 2022, I actually went and got the install done, and it took 24 hours, which is 2 days. Day 1 took about 11 hours and day 2 took about 13 hours, but thank God we finished on day 2. Driving both ways was a mission, but I did it. Blessed be the Lord. We started around 9 o'clock in the morning or so. I can't remember for sure, but it was around then. Actually, I apologize. I think I said 24. I think it was 27 hours. 2 weeks later, I was supposed to go for a retie, but that happened to be when we were out of town. So she was scheduled to 3 weeks later. So 3 weeks later, I actually went in for my, just to see how my locks are holding up, and my first retie. It was just to see that nothing was slipping. And then at that point, I was placed on a 6-week retie schedule moving forward. Sisterlocks are not exactly cheap, okay? It, out of full honesty, cost me $1,200 to install these locks. That's because it is $600 for 6 inches of hair as the base price. Then I think it was $50 or $75 for every half an inch. No, for every inch after that. So I think I had like 10 or 12 inches or something like that. Anyway, my price was $1,200. My reties are $140. Now that's not including tip, but my loctician just reties it. I am considering going to another loctician who will not only retie it, but will actually wash and style as well for around the same price, which is like amazing. More of a service we love to hear, right? I wanted my locks originally very tiny, and then I talked to my loctician and she was like, I'll be honest with you, I don't think you need it that tiny. I think your hair will thrive regardless. And I ended up with around 415 locks on my head, so that's still a lot for me. And looking back, I would have been okay probably with like 380. I actually wanted to puff up a lot more. I know they will, but I don't mind if they were a little bit thicker. I think if in the future, if I really wanted, I might combine to make it just a little bit thicker, but we'll see. Yeah, my hair, I didn't think it went through an ugly phase at the time, but in retrospect, when I look at videos, I do think I went through an ugly phase. Those are some of the cons. Something to think about is that locticians are far and in between. So you might have to drive a certain distance depending on where you are to find a loctician. I think it's easier to install with a certain loctician and then find someone close to you to maintain. So right, yeah, so I thought in the beginning that I did not have an ugly face. I kind of did have an ugly face. We all have an ugly face. It's okay. It's just your head is getting used to and adjusted to it. You'll be fine in about 6 months to a year and a half, which is why I give myself that time period, a year and a half to 2 years, being the time that I would love my hair to be in when I got married. Out of the awkward phase, we're finally getting out of that, I would be honest with you, very recently. At the end of my appointment, when I finished my install, of course, I took Advil because of the pain on my head. Now, those are some of the cons that I will say. When you get to go to get your retie done, you might have to take Advil. That's just part of the game. I mean, if you get braids done in general, you do sometimes have to take Advil depending on who does your hair, right? Nothing different from that. I'm not gonna say like I'm dying from pain. Some people's hands are tighter than others. Of course, we all know. So now when I started my hair journey, some of the care instruction that I was given was that I was to braid and bend my hair whenever I would wash it, every single time I would wash it. And I was supposed to wash my hair every week to 10, maybe 14 days maximum. A week to 2 weeks is the maximum I could go without washing my hair. I know some people said that they weren't allowed to wash their hair in the beginning. I was allowed, and I was actually recommended, or it was preferred for me to wash my hair. At least my loctician wanted me to wash my hair from the beginning. She felt like she wanted, you know, some of those oils so that your hair produces your own oils. So she was like, just wash your hair. So the only things I was allowed outside of that is just shampoo after braiding and bending my hair. And then of course I could use Sea Breeze or rose water, but Sea Breeze was the one she really recommended for me. So I would use Sea Breeze whenever my hair was itchy or I had a lot of flakes. And it was an anti-astringent, but watered down, so that I would spray it in my hair and it would help with flakes and just itchiness in general. Yes, braiding and bending was not my favorite part. It's not really a con, but it is a care instruction that you need to follow, that your hair doesn't unravel when you first get the sister lock in. What's the point of losing thousands of dollars on your hair? You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, that's kind of all I use. So that's how you care for it. Did I always follow that instruction? There were 2 washes that I missed around my birthday within the first year that I did not follow that instruction. My sister loctician did notice. If she told me something's off, stop doing what you're doing. And I did stop. But braiding and bending was not my favorite part. it wasn't terrible when you really think about it compared to regular wash days. Okay, regular wash days with loose natural hair would take me anywhere from the fastest with 3 hours to all day. This is literally braiding and banding. It took me maximum of like 25-30 minutes maximum, and I still didn't want to do that because I'm low maintenance when it comes to that type of stuff, but high maintenance when it comes to like getting quality care for stuff. I don't know, whatever. So whenever I would have flare-ups with wigs or braids and other type of things, being able to wash it, clean it, treat it, and then, you know, obviously eat better, less stress, all those things that cause it, I wouldn't be able to do that, right? So then it became like a permanent problem. And my hair, if you look at some of my videos in the beginning, was in a terrible state. So this is definitely, I would say, more of a pro, because I would say with Sisterlocks, maybe it's that the fact that I'm washing my hair way more frequently, so there's less oils on my hair for seborrheic dermatitis to grow, because it thrives in oily, you know, environments. But for me personally, it's really helped my seborrheic dermatitis. I always slept with a silk or satin scarf in the first place because hello, black hair, right? You shouldn't be sleeping on cotton like pillowcases because it will snag your hair, you get more breakage, blah blah blah. We all know the story. But I would sleep, you know, obviously with my silk scarf or silk or satin, right? So I obviously, that is very highly recommended. It will keep your hair from developing a lot of lint. My next topic, lint. Lint is definitely my care section because I think I've become more obsessed with lint in the past 6 months. In the past 6 months, I don't think, like, I don't know what it is, but maybe I guess I'm in that next phase where my hair is like thriving, so I need something to like worry about or something. But I do have some lint in my hair, and I do notice that they're like, it's spread out. And luckily, because my locks are very tiny, it doesn't show that much. But again, the bigger the locks, the more your lint will show if, you know, if you're not cleaning or brushing the way you should. If you're washing your hair often and frequently, you shouldn't get that much lint in the first place because you're actually washing it out so things don't snag in your hair. I've been trying this new thing where the TikTok girlies, the Gen Z girlies are talking about brushing your locks. I've done it a couple of times. My loctician didn't say it affected my locks in a negative way, but I don't do it often enough to say that I see a difference, to be honest with you. But I have done it a couple of times because I've become obsessed with lint. Should I be, to be honest with you? Not really. Can you really see it? Not really. If I point it out to you, of course, but again, it gets so lost in the hairs that how are you really gonna see it? So I think that's something to think about, but I think I blow it out of proportion, but it is, you know, a con, I guess. Lint is a con, but it is not an overwhelming con in the grand scheme of all the cons, right? So overall, was it a great decision? 100%. There's literally, I still to this day, anyone will ask me about my Sisterlocks, I talk about it proudly. I don't have any regrets about it. I don't think I'll have any regrets anytime soon. I know some people were like, oh, once you lock your hair, you might regret it. You might miss your free loose hair. There have been times I'm like, oh, I wish I had my free loose hair. And then I remember when I had my free loose hair for 10 years, I didn't do anything with it. So I don't, I really try to be realistic, right? And the reality is I love my Sisterlocks. I will recommend it to anyone. Even if you have seborrheic dermatitis or a scalp condition, again, talk to your doctor. I do have a dermatologist I talk to for my hair, for my skin, but this has been so helpful for me. I absolutely recommend it, especially for a low maintenance, high maintenance girly, because we all know natural loose hair is high maintenance, okay? It's high maintenance, but at the same time, you could be a low maintenance girly by doing a lot of braids and protective styling. Okay, and that's okay. Every girly is welcome, but the thing is, I want to be able to wear my hair out and wake up and go, and this for me is the answer to that. It is the actual hair freedom that I've been looking for while still being able to wear my hair out without doing something else to it to maintain. So yeah, I hope this has helped answer some questions. This was a very long video, but I really wanted to dive into all aspects of Sisterlocks so you know what it is and you can make an informed decision if you want to get Sisterlocks installed. Don't forget to check out the vlogs where I show, you know, my retie sessions and talk about some of the things I'm thinking about. I like do the reties. If you're interested in me doing a Q&A video for my Sisterlocks, leave some comments below. I will gather all of them and do one long video answering them all at once, at least as soon as possible as I can after my honeymoon and all that stuff. But until next time, bye my loves.